Everyone's blaming the boomers for why nobody can afford a house anymore. But what if I told you the real reason has nothing to do with age and everything to do with the invisible forces controlling the money you use, the house you want, and the debt you're drowning in? Welcome to Luxona, where millionaires are made. Today, we're exposing one of the biggest lies in modern economics. The idea that boomers ruined everything, when in reality it was cheap money and reckless policy that made the system collapse. If you want to understand why everything is unaffordable and how to beat the system, stay with us. You hear it all the time. Boomers had it easy. Shit. They bought homes for pennies. They didn't have crushing student debt. They lived through an America that felt like a dream. But here's the truth. Boomers didn't create the system. They just benefited from the best years of it. The real story begins in 1971. That's when the United States officially left the gold standard. It's called the Nixon shock. Before that, the US dollar was backed by gold, which meant you couldn't just print endless amounts of money. But the moment we cut the tie to gold, everything changed. The dollar became pure fiat, meaning it was worth whatever the government said it was worth. And when money has no limits, spending has no brakes. What followed was 50 years of non-stop debt expansion. Instead of producing value, America became addicted to borrowing. But here's where it gets worse. In the 1980s, the Federal Reserve began a decades-long trend of lowering interest rates. Every time the economy struggled, the answer was the same. Cut rates. Make money cheaper. Make borrowing easier. Give everyone access to credit. Sounds good, right? Wrong. Because when money becomes cheap, asset prices explode. You don't need a PhD in economics to understand this. If interest rates are 10%, you can afford a $200,000 home. But if rates drop to 2%, suddenly you can afford a $500,000 home with the same monthly payment. Did your income go up? No. Did the value of the home increase? No. But because you can borrow more, prices go up. And that's exactly what happened. Housing, education, healthcare, stocks, every major asset class inflated like a balloon. This isn't because boomers were greedy. It's because the money system was rigged to pump up prices. And who owns those assets? Boomers, corporations, the elite. So yes, younger generations got screwed, but not by boomers as individuals. By the system boomers happened to be born into. And now, the younger generations are expected to survive in an economy where everything costs more and wages have barely moved. Let's talk about what made this worse: government guarantees and moral hazard. In the past, getting a loan was hard. You needed to prove you could pay it back. But as the government started backing mortgages and student loans, the risk shifted. Banks no longer cared if you could pay, they just wanted to lend. Why? Because if you default, Uncle Sam eats the loss. That's how we got to a place where someone with no income, no job, and no assets could buy a home with zero down. And when you remove risk from lending, you remove price discipline from the market. That's when the bubbles start. Then we add in political sugar highs. Democrats promise to wipe student debt, send stimulus checks, raise wages, guarantee healthcare, and make housing a right. Sounds compassionate, but it all costs money. And where does that money come from? More debt, more printing, more inflation. Republicans, on the other hand, claim to be fiscally conservative. But what did Trump do? He pressured the Fed to keep rates low. Why? Because low rates inflate stock prices, and inflated stock prices make the economy look better than it really is. Both sides play the same game. They want credit cheap and flowing. They want to delay the crash. But when you delay the crash, you only make it worse. The hard truth is this: not everyone should own a home. Not everyone should get a loan. Not everyone should go to college. When you democratize everything through artificial credit, you inflate everything beyond what it's actually worth. Think about it. If you handed out $50,000 checks to everyone tomorrow to buy a home prices would double overnight. That's not wealth. That's inflation. The only people who win in that game are the ones who already own the assets. That's why the rich get richer. They own the things that inflation boosts. The poor? They just chase higher prices with stagnant wages and rising debt. The system is broken because we've built an economy on borrowing instead of building. The only way out is painful. We need to raise interest rates. Stop the money printing. Let asset prices fall. Yes, it will hurt. It'll crash the housing market. It'll wipe out some portfolios. But it will restore reality. It will bring prices back to levels people can actually afford. And it will reward those who save, those who produce, and those who invest wisely. If we don't do that, we'll keep chasing fake growth with fake money until the whole thing collapses. So what should you do when the reset comes? First, hold cash and short-term treasuries. When prices fall, you'll be ready to buy. Second, invest in productive assets, businesses that make real profits and don't rely on cheap credit. Third, wait for real estate to correct, then strike. Fourth, protect your and Bitcoin, not because they're perfect, but because fiat isn't. And finally, invest in yourself. Build media, build leverage, build skills. Owning attention and owning output is your ultimate hedge against broken systems. The bottom line? Stop blaming generations. Start understanding the system, because the ones who see the game win the game. If this video opened your eyes, drop a comment below and say, "I see the game now." And if you're ready to go deeper into financial truth, subscribe to Luxona, where millionaires are made.